Great. Hi, everyone. Thank you again for joining today for Turn.io's Grow and Scale workshop. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Shiara Kuni from the Turn team. I think I've been emailing a few of you over the past few months. We've been looking forward to today's session. We've got a lot of exciting content to share with you to help you grow your chat service on WhatsApp. We also have with us today 3 phenomenal guest speakers who will be sharing their insights and experiences on go-to-market and growth. We have Christina Kansen, go-to-market strategy expert and ex-Twitter and Meta alum. Abdulhamid Haidar, founder and CEO of Darcel. And Maraline Ntsele, communications consultant at KeyReady. Thank you for being here today to share your experience. And thank you also to Lisa Langford from the Turn team, who I'm sure most of you already know. Thank you, Lisa, for helping to facilitate today's workshop. I'd like to give all of you a little bit of an overview of what the agenda looks like today. We'll be first walking through key questions that will help you center your work on WhatsApp and also help you think about the impact that you'd like to achieve. We'll then move through go-to-market and growth, looking at best practices to market your service and expand your service over time. Next, we'll share some recommendations on metrics that you can monitor related to your service. We'll then hear from Abdulhamid and Marilan as they share experiences from Darcel and KeyReady, respectively. And lastly, we'll leave some time at the end for Q&A. So please feel free to drop any questions that you have throughout the session in the chat window throughout the webinar, and we'll address those at the end. So as you can see, we've got a jam-packed session for today. Without further delay, I'm going to jump right in. So right up front, once you've decided that a platform like WhatsApp is central to your conversational model and your impact journey, it's really important to take the time to answer a few key questions to help you plan for that impact journey. Thinking about things like, who is your audience and what channels do they use that you can leverage as entry points for your go-to-market? And Christina will chat more about this shortly. Also thinking about what partnerships are important for you to expand the reach of your service. How quickly can you launch a minimum viable product to get fast feedback from your audience on your service? What metrics will you monitor on a regular basis? I'll chat more about these key questions when we reach the growth scale and metrics portion of the workshop. And crucially, and perhaps most importantly, it's critical to think about your measures of success and plan in terms of scale. So what are the goals for your chat service? What does success look like for you and for your organization? Where are you launching today? And which countries or regions do you want to expand to in 2 to 5 years? After this session, I will be sharing an interactive go-to-market and growth kit that we've recently prepared at Turn.io, where you will receive this questionnaire and you'll be able to complete these questions and really create your own personalized path to impact. It will be incredibly useful for you to think about this right up front, but also as you progress through your impact journey, to review and look back on whether you're on track to reach your goals. I'll now hand over to Christina, who will take us through building a robust go-to-market plan to grow your audience on WhatsApp. Christina, over to you.
Thanks so much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone dialing in. As Shiara just shared, I'm going to be walking you through all things GTM, go-to-market. I'm Christina Kansen. I'm Dutch, but I'm actually based in the US for the last 12 years, and I'm dialing in this morning from San Francisco. For the last decade, I've been deep in the world of tech, working for the tech giants like Twitter and Meta, and focused on go-to-market strategy. I spent the last 4 years driving the go-to-market for WhatsApp business products, developing and scaling the WhatsApp business app and the WhatsApp API, bringing messaging around the world through trusted partners like Turn.io. The goal for today is to educate you on what go-to-market is, the power of go-to-market, and some of the best practices. So what is go-to-market? A go-to-market strategy is a step-by-step plan designed to bring a new product to market and drive demand for that product. It helps identify target audiences, outline the marketing and sales strategy, and aligns stakeholders around that plan. And while every single product and market will be different, a well-crafted go-to-market strategy should identify a market problem and position a product as the solution. So living in San Francisco in the United States, the heart of Silicon Valley, I see and hear and deal with many startups. Many startup entrepreneurs believe if they just build a strong product, the people will come. This is not true, and a reason why many companies fail. They do not understand the importance of a very thoughtful go-to-market strategy. A go-to-market strategy is essential for launching and growing a product or service. It ensures that you are operating efficiently. So by understanding your target audience, you can focus your effort on the most effective channels, making the best use of your resources. A go-to-market strategy will also give you a competitive advantage. Your go-to-market strategy will highlight what makes your product unique, setting it apart from any of the competition. And a good go-to-market is also results-driven. The go-to-market will drive adoption, increase sales, and boost revenue. And a good go-to-market drives scale. A good go-to-market strategy provides a framework that can be adapted and scaled as your business expands. So what does good look like and what does bad look like? So I just wanted to give like 2 examples of companies that most likely we all know and provide some like details around what they did well or they didn't do well around their go-to-market. So Airbnb. Imagine a company that transformed travel by turning in homes into unique stays. This company is Airbnb. And its go-to-market strategy was truly the main reason for its massive success. Here's what they did right. They built a community around shared experiences and word of mouth. User reviews fostered trust and credibility. They also localized marketing for different regions and collaborated with local influencers, making the brand very relatable around the world. Airbnb is also known for an exceptional user experience. They also partnered with local tourism boards and governments and collaborated with companies for business travel. This was a very effective way to expand their reach. The result? A rapid global expansion, super strong brand trust, high user engagements, and sustainable growth. Airbnb didn't just enter the market, they transformed the market. So let's talk about what not to do. Nokia. Nokia is actually my first phone that I once had, but we all know that Nokia was a large titan in telecommunications and consumer electronics. But around 2010, Nokia was like losing its lead due to a couple of go-to-market missteps. They struggled to keep pace with the innovation of like rivals like Apple and Samsung, and their phones were perceived quite quickly as outdated. The partnership that Nokia started with Microsoft also didn't really resonate with consumers and by far couldn't compete to Android and iOS. This misalignment only accelerated the market struggles. Nokia failed to adapt to a changing consumer preferences, the brand image suffered, and products were seen as obsolete, damaging the once so strong Nokia brand. The result? A significant market decline and a loss of industry leadership. Nokia's go-to-market failures underscore the critical need of innovation, adaptation, and strategic alignment. So as you are growing your business, you need to be very intentional with your go-to-market. And with Turn.io, you are building and growing and engaging with your audience on WhatsApp. WhatsApp has over 2 billion, I actually think it's like 3 currently, 3 billion people using it every day. And the user base is only growing. People message their beloved ones, friends, and family here. WhatsApp is personal and trusted and feels very different from SMS and email. You have the unique opportunity to build a trusted relationship with your audience, meeting them where they are spending most of their time. WhatsApp is not just a back and forth text channel. It's a messaging platform where customers can interact in all stages of the funnel. In marketing, we really talk a lot about the funnel. This is how we create, build, and maintain relationships with our customers. So if we take a full funnel approach to messages, on the top of the funnel, you can connect with your audience by sending media-rich messages. It drives engagements and awareness. Mid-funnel, you want to send them personalized messages to your customers, which will nurture and convert them. At the bottom of the funnel, you can send them helpful reminders and create remarketing ads that send customers to a new WhatsApp conversation. So how to capitalize on the strengths of WhatsApp and bring your audience to WhatsApp? I really strongly believe in creating an ICP. This stands for an ideal customer profile. An ICP is a detailed description of the individual who would benefit most from your product or service and provide them the most value in return. By defining your ICP, you can focus all your marketing and sales efforts effectively targeting those who are most likely to become loyal customers. The first step in developing an ICP is to identify the key user segments and understand which channels they use. To do this, you need to answer a couple of important questions. How old are my customers? Where do they live? What do they do for a living? What are their needs and what are their problems? By understanding these aspects of your clients, you will create a clear and comprehensive profile of your ICP, allowing you to tailor your marketing strategies to meet their specific needs. Once you know your ICP, it's time to identify the channels. Once you know their preferred channels, you can start promoting your chat services through those channels. On this slide, you can see the many channels that are available in today's world. So your decision for channels will depend on your audience understanding and, of course, the budgets that you have available to reach them. So once you have focused on bringing your audience to WhatsApp, it's very important to consider how your brand comes to life on WhatsApp and be very intentional about it. So when naming your chatbots, select a name that is memorable and is a good fit for your brand. You also really want to think about the tone of voice, depending on what your organization does. You might want to have the chatbot be very professional, maybe friendly, or sometimes even funny. But make sure that it is aligned with your brand and your brand and market. You also want to make sure that the chat services have a recognizable name. This could be the name of your organization, but you could also be going for like a persona. Having a strong business profile on WhatsApp is crucial, as it enhances your professional presence and credibility with customers. A well-crafted profile with complete information, including business name, address, contact details, and compelling description, builds trust and facilitates easier communication. Lastly, think about the logo or avatar and how it will look to a WhatsApp user. So by taking all these steps, you're prepared on your end. But how can you grow your audience on WhatsApp? So there's a couple of simple ways to bring your audience to WhatsApp. QR codes, click to WhatsApp link, also known as a WA.me, so WhatsApp me, or your WhatsApp number. You want to make sure that you're including your WhatsApp contact information everywhere. So make sure that your WhatsApp number is, for instance, on your website. Also know that Google is one of your strongest allies in marketing of your chat service. Whether you do your Google ads in-house or you help or with the help of a service provider, we really advise you to add a click to WhatsApp link in all of your ads. To link your WhatsApp number to a Google ad, you'll need to add your WhatsApp number to your website as your contact number, and Google will do the rest. So digital channels are also a great way to boost your posts. One of the most effective ways is to boost your social media post with your click to WhatsApp link. You can target audiences, boost your post, and make the CTA, the click to action, to start a conversation with you. By creating ads that click to WhatsApp, you have more value from your digital ad spend. Printed posters and leaflets are also a handy way to market your services. If you place posters or leaflets where your target audience is likely to see it and spends its time, you should see your chat service growing quickly. Make sure to attach the QR codes to make like the start of the conversation very easy for your users. Also make sure to include the URL or link on your poster, as not everyone will have a QR code reader available. Bulk SMS is another great way to reach out to all of your customers, inviting them to interact with you on the WhatsApp service. You can reach out to the existing database and invite your community to interact with your new WhatsApp service, which will be much more dynamic and engaging. WhatsApp channels is also a great way for one-way push communications, such as like newsletters or certain company updates. There is no limitation on the number of people you can follow that can follow you or see your updates. But besides from emoji reactions, there's no way for followers to respond on channels. So that's why it's ideally for a one-way communication. Reminders on WhatsApp are a tool to send helpful reminders to re-engage customers you build a relationship with through another channel like SMS or email. You can send a follow-up document, prompt an action, or remind people of an important upcoming appointment. When sending reminders, you do need to think through the following. Who do you want to send the reminder to? What message template will you be using? And when do you want to send the reminder? You want the who, what, and when to be relevant, expected, and appreciated by your audience. Finally, there are some key considerations when taking your service to market. You will get optimal results when leveraging a multi-channel approach, meaning television, radio, social media, web, mobile, and printed media, a media mix. Secondly, partnerships are key. For instance, with the government to market your service as a part of existing health promotions, or partnerships with fast-moving consumer goods companies. It's a great lever to create scale. Then offline marketing, like billboards, can be effective, but also expensive at scale. So consider the investment versus the digital channels. Digital marketing may be cost effective, but be careful to test these methods to see what works for you and justify the investment. In general, I like to think about the 70-20-10 rule. What I mean with that is invest your resources for 70% in proven channels based on past performance. 20% of your budget into channels that are expected to work based on market or competitor research, and invest 10% in like out of the box ideas informed by research. Once you get your users to your messaging service, make sure to collect opt-in. You can do this whenever is best for your users, so that that could, for instance, be in WhatsApp or on your website. You want your messages to be expected and wanted. That's why the opt-in is key. These first interactions will be very determining on the continuation and the quality of the whole conversation. So now that you've brought your user successfully to your messaging service and started the relationship, sustained effort is key, maintaining and growing the relationship. So how do you know if you're successful? You measure KPIs, key performance indicators. KPIs are values that demonstrate how effectively an organization is in achieving their key business objectives. Organizations use KPIs as on multiple levels to evaluate their success in reaching targets. This could be in finance, people, or indeed go-to-market. KPIs inform you if you're on track or off track and where you should adjust your strategy. So how to develop KPIs? First, start by identifying the strategic goals of the organization. Second, select metrics that align with these goals and provide meaningful insights. Third, establish clear and achievable targets for each KPI. Fourth, implement systems to collect and analyze this data on a regular basis. Then build a rhythm of business to review the KPIs and make adjustments as necessary to stay aligned with the strategic goals. Some relevant go-to-market KPIs to think of if as you are building out the relationship with your audience on WhatsApp are, I'm going to throw some acronyms here at you: CAC, ROMI, CRR, and NPS. CAC is the customer acquisition cost, and it calculates the cost of acquiring a new customer. ROMI is the return on marketing investments. It measures the revenue generated for each dollar spent on marketing. CRR, customer retention rates, is the percentage of existing customers who continue to do business with the company over a given period. And then we have the Net Promoter Score, NPS. It measures the customer loyalty and satisfaction by asking how likely customers are likely to recommend the company to others. But also within the messaging threads, there's data to be tracked in KPIs in Turns dashboard. So you can see and review the open rates of your messages, the read rates, the block rates, and the interaction data. In conclusion, KPIs are essential in go-to-market strategies. By monitoring metrics, you can identify what is working, spot potential issues early, and make data-driven decisions to optimize your approach. So we went through a bunch of best practices on how to promote and grow your business. I just now want to take a couple of factual examples of companies that I've seen do it right on WhatsApp in the last couple of years. So I'll be going through some of the tactics we discussed applied with delivering strong KPIs. Okay, so Book My Show, an Indian online ticketing service, included their WhatsApp number in email signatures to provide customer support. This resulted in faster resolution time for customer queries and enhanced customer satisfaction. Another one, Toyota. Toyota printed their WhatsApp number on brochures and billboards as part of a customer service initiative. This increased the number of customer inquiries handled via WhatsApp, leading to improved customer service, efficiency, and lower costs. Then KLM, a Dutch company, they included the WhatsApp QR codes on their boarding passes and marketing materials, allowing passengers to easily contact customer service. And KLM saw a notable improvement in customer engagement and satisfaction with quicker resolution of customer issues. I really hope that you are inspired by these examples. I'm going to be handing it over to Chiara in a second, but before I leave you, I want to leave you with a couple of thoughts to carry forward. A go-to-market strategy is not just a plan. It's your blueprint for success. It's about knowing your audience, standing out from the crowd, and leveraging the right channels to build a meaningful connection with your audience. Whether you're launching a groundbreaking product or service, your go-to-market strategy is going to be your guiding star. Thank you so much for all of your attention, and let's continue to inspire and transform the world. Chiara, I'm handing it off to you.
Thank you so much, Christina. That was amazing. So Christina's obviously touched on everything as you need to know about go-to-market strategy. And once you've thought about go-to-market strategy and you've launched your service within your users' preferred channels, as Christina touched on, there are many things you can do to reach even more people and expand your impact. And that's the growth and scale portion of the workshop. Now on this continuum, even before you begin engaging with users, we suggest really just getting started by simply answering questions that users will have via the help desk in turn to help you get a good idea of how to automate via journeys down the line. And then you do want to create two-way engagement with your users by making your service as interactive as possible. Create that conversational dialogue via journeys, launch fun quizzes and surveys, take your users through a curriculum. And in this way, you can get users excited about interacting with you via WhatsApp. Think about how you can provide utility and therefore value to your users to keep them coming back. Send reminders to the user segments that you've created in the Turn product for important milestones or actions that they need to take, or deliver timed campaigns that are centered around particular health days or at the start of the school year. And then keep your service dynamic by diversifying or adding new use cases to create new reasons for users to come back and engage. At this stage of thinking about the utility, you would also want to start thinking about using AI when you really have a clear idea and view of the added value that is created by your service. As our CTO and co-founder Simon would say, there is often a delta between what you think your users want versus what they actually want. So provide that utility before optimizing prematurely with tools like AI. Christina's mentioned this before. Partnerships are crucial to growing your service. Think of distribution partnerships as force multipliers. They will help unlock new channels for you to reach new users. An example of this is working hand in hand with the Ministry of Health or Education to embed your service in regional or national clinics or schools. We know it's challenging and it will take time, as we all know, but it can be a significant amplifier to your reach and impact. So what new partnerships can you tap into today? As Christina mentioned as well, marketing isn't just a once-off undertaking. Do promote your service every few months and across multiple channels, especially if you're expanding to new use cases, if you're updating your service, or you're forging new partnerships. Make your audience aware about how your service is improving and also how it's improving for them. And you can also A/B test to discover what the optimal promotion strategies are for your organization. Lastly, don't let your service grow stale. Keep content fresh. Ask users for their feedback via in-app surveys. In that way, you can continuously improve based on what works for users and what doesn't. You can improve based on user needs. Monitoring engagement metrics can also help you to identify those opportunities for growth, which I'll chat through shortly. This is a go-to-market and growth checklist that we've created here at Turn to help you track completion of key milestones to successfully launch, grow, and scale your chat service on WhatsApp. At first glance, the slide looks busy, but it's really a step-by-step series of actions that you can take from the very start of your journey with Turn all the way through scaling via WhatsApp. From creating a go-to-market plan up front, to creating QR codes and WAMI links and adding them to your website and socials for launch, to getting feedback from users as you iterate, and adding new use cases and developing a scaling plan. Today, all of you are at different points in your impact journey. Some of you are at the beginning, some of you are already scaling. This checklist is going to be included in the go-to-market and growth toolkit that will be shared after this call, so you can personalize it according to your own impact journey, as well as personalizing it according to your own milestones and measures of success. You can also use this little check mark in the top right-hand corner to tick off what you've completed, and that will also help to reflect to you and help you identify new opportunities for you to grow and scale from 100 to 1,000 to 10,000 users and beyond. Being data-driven is important to help you understand the impact of your service and identify future opportunities for growth. And Christina has already mentioned some of these metrics as it relates to go-to-market, and this list delves a little bit into other metrics that may be helpful to understand how users use and feel about your service. Engagement metrics like conversations, monthly active users, messages received are all available in turn and can help you understand engagement patterns like the time of day or week when your users are most or least active. So you can identify opportunities to tailor and grow your service and ensure a great user experience. Completion and retention rates are useful if your users are working through a curriculum, helping you understand where to tweak the content depending on where drop-offs might occur, for example. Deploying surveys from your service can also help you understand user satisfaction and comprehension. You can also use surveys to understand the perceived clarity, helpfulness, trustworthiness of your service, as well as how easy it is to use and navigate from a user perspective. Surveys are so critical to get that feedback from users. And lastly, business metrics like conversion rate, cost savings, and revenue impact from using your chat service can really help to quantify its value to your organization. This list is by no means exhaustive, but it could be a useful starting point for you to think about what metrics would be important for you to help measure your impact, your success, as well as your progress towards your goals. So this is the end of the theory portion on go-to-market and growth. And we thought, what better way to bring this all together by really hearing from those who've been successful in launching and growing their service on WhatsApp. I'm honored to introduce Abdulhamid Haidar, founder and CEO of Darcel. Abdulhamid, over to you.
Thank you so much, and thanks to the entire Turn team. It's really a privilege for me to kind of share a bit about our journey with Darcel, and hopefully it will be of some value and relevance to some of you here. So first of all, briefly, what is Darcel? We are a global education technology nonprofit, and we're focused on improving math learning outcomes, especially in low and middle income countries through our chatbot. And it's a very simple chatbot that allows students to practice and learn curriculum-aligned math through channels like WhatsApp. So as you can see from this picture, essentially, we send math questions to students and then they respond, and then the AI figures out where students are getting stuck and what content they need, and then we send them that supplementary content. So it's a chatbot that is designed to be used by students who, for the most part, are middle school students now in Jordan, India, and Nigeria. And we'll talk a bit more about that in the coming slides. So first, quickly, kind of why are we doing this through a chatbot? Well, in order to fix education, you really need a two-way interactive process with the student. And the best and most scalable way to do that in low resource settings is, of course, through texting. And if you're doing texting, then WhatsApp gives you not only kind of a channel that is kind of very simple and familiar, but also something that parents and schools will trust, and one that they can kind of easily access, and one that is, especially from a data standpoint, very cheap. So we've tried to add on top of the advantages that WhatsApp offers by making sure that all of the content that we have is designed for the specific curriculum in the countries where we work. And of course, by making sure that the process of learning is completely interactive and personalized. So every student is getting a different learning journey based on what our algorithm deems to be their skills and their gaps. And of course, key to our go-to-market strategy, which I'll talk in more detail about, is the fact that we integrate this with school systems. So even though any student individually can go online and use our chatbot, the vast majority of our success has come from partnering with public school systems in an institutional way and involving the teacher in our program. And the last thing I'll say here is that we've also invested in a lot of gamification and kind of fun elements to this program to make it work. So let's look in more detail about some of these. First, just quickly, our impact. We've launched 3 years ago in 2021. We are now operating across 3 countries, India, Jordan, and Nigeria. We've had over 2,000 schools registered to use Darcel, over 120,000 students, and they've solved over 170 million math questions on Darcel. And we also have one RCT from a few years ago showing that this was actually leading to impact on learning outcomes, and we have another one coming up. And again, the key to all of this scale has been working with government partners. In Jordan, it's been at the national level where Jordan has been adopted, or Darcel has been adopted for grade 7 math nationally across all government schools. And we're now replicating that, working with a few different states in India and Nigeria. So, of course, I talked about how it's critical that Darcel is a digital intervention, that WhatsApp makes it very scalable and cheap. But the truth is, behind the success of the digital intervention is a lot of on-the-ground work that was necessary for us to kind of get that scale. And that starts with kind of very boring and analog training sessions that we kind of had to go and conduct to establish credibility. There's lots of different kind of entities and organizations, and now even chatbots out there. And having that kind of in-person connection and being there in the ministry and doing these training sessions really had a very large kind of impact on our ability to get users. And these are some pictures from training sessions we've conducted both for individual teachers, but also for district level officials through our partnerships with the ministry. Now, because it's such a simple product, you only need a quick, 30-minute, maybe 1 hour training session, and, kind of people get it. But this is not just about communicating what the chatbot is. It might be self-explanatory, but it's also about kind of creating that credibility and that human touch in the relationship. And then the other big, let's say, kind of physical activity that we've done is distributing these flyers. So as you can see here, there's a flyer that we send to every student in our programs. It's 2 pages. Kind of the front page just shows an overview of kind of what Darcel is, with a screenshot just to make it very clear kind of that this is just something that's happening inside WhatsApp. And then on the back side, we have the instructions for how to access it. And similar to what Christina was saying earlier, there's a bunch of things that you can and should be doing. Here we have both the number on the sheet, but also a QR code that essentially goes to the kind of wa.me link and takes you straight into a conversation. And we have tried with and without these flyers. It is possible to run this program without distributing these flyers. We've had cases where teachers will literally write down the phone number on a blackboard, and then the students would copy it, and that can work. But you just get much higher adoption rates when you're literally giving out a physical flyer for every student, and then they can take that home, the parents see it, and then with a quick scan, they're in. And then another thing that we invested quite significantly in is trying to build a community of teachers. So we have WhatsApp groups and WhatsApp communities that we've done for that. So in Jordan, for example, we have over 2,000 grade 7 math teachers across 40 different WhatsApp groups in this community, organized at the district level. And we've used these WhatsApp groups not only to be providing technical support to teachers, but also to be sharing kind of reports and to gamify the whole process a bit. So in this example on the left, what you see is a leaderboard of different schools in a particular district. And we share these reports essentially with schools to recognize the kind of the achievement and the impact of the top performing schools, but also to kind of create some amount of social pressure. We found that gamification, of course, works well for students at the classroom level, but it can also be very effective at the institutional level. So having different schools compete, or even having different districts compete, and having just that transparency around usage, at least in our experience, has been very positive for engagement. And like I said, we use these groups not only for this purpose, but also to share success stories individually, to congratulate top teachers. Again, from us, like at this point, the personal relationship that the folks on our team have with a lot of these teachers becomes an important motivator and kind of part of the of the success of what is otherwise a very digital and almost robotic intervention. And then the last thing that we do is we also invest in having in-person recognition. And a lot of this is award ceremonies that we conduct at the end of every term, but also occasionally we will be visiting schools, and even simple things like distributing kind of text notebooks or certificates actually goes a long way in building brand awareness. And actually these like single one-day events probably do more for our kind of brand than kind of the rest of the year in terms of kind of digital outreach efforts. Of course, you need both, but in our experience, these kind of large in-person event, old school, but actually can be very, very effective. Especially if you can get media publicity around that, then that also really helps. It's a lot easier to get media publicity around in-person events with the government than to try and do that just based on kind of digital interventions. And that's really it. That's what I wanted to share, just to kind of quickly recap some of the key takeaways. For us, government partnerships have been a very effective pathway to scale because we then are able to leverage existing distribution channels. So, you know, the brochures, for example, those are being distributed by the schools. So we're not going kind of door to door to every school. We're using the government to get the word out to all of the schools. Obviously, this doesn't work in all settings, but especially in education and things like healthcare, there is a lot of scope for government distribution on your behalf. Printed material can be kind of expensive, and there is some calculus to do there, but in our case, we found it to be very effective at increasing adoption, especially because in our case, the users don't have their own phones. So having a QR code that they can take home to the actual, you know, mother or father who owns the phone was critical in our case, and that could be something to think about. Like, will your users always have access to a phone, or, you know, when you are exposing them to a QR code? And then, of course, everything that we do is fundamentally around behavior change. So we use gamification and these kind of leaderboards to try and create some extrinsic motivation, not only for students, but also for teachers and even senior bureaucrats to kind of be more invested in our platform. And data here can be a very powerful part of that equation. But of course, kind of everything that we do, you know, there was a lot of trial and error to figure out how much gamification is too much gamification. And the same can be for like nudging and other elements. So we do a bunch of A/B testing. We try different things. We try different combinations of kind of digital outreach and then kind of having an actual human talk to teachers. And we're still kind of doing that and figuring out what works best. But hopefully some of what I showed today will be useful. And I think that's all the slides I have.
Thank you so much, Abdulhamid. Wow. 170 million maths, was it 170 or 17 million maths questions solved? That's a lot of questions that have been solved by your students. And I really love the emphasis that you've mentioned on creating a fun experience for your users through gamification to grow your service, but also how valuable those in-person elements are, as well as clear printed materials with very specific instructions of how to access your service, and also how important government partnerships can be as a pathway to scale. Great. Thank you so much for being here today to share your experience and best practices to create that impact at scale. Next up, I'm really excited to introduce Mariline Etsele, founder of I Support Creative Business and Communications Consultant at KeyReady. Mariline, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, and hello, everyone. Coincidence will, Christina, I didn't know this, but I'm also originally from the Netherlands, but I'm based here in Durban, South Africa. And I'm part of the communications team as a consultant of KeyReady, as you said. And we also run a WhatsApp line, obviously, that's why we are here. And I think for me to hear this workshop, it's really a reality check, right? Because even though, and that's very important, even though we've been at this for some time, I think we constantly go through the motions as a WhatsApp line, and we constantly scale and go back to the beginning and go through all our checklists again. So it's sort of a journey that is never over. And this is also why it's always nice to hear from others. What have they done? Is there anything that we haven't done that we still can try? So thanks so much for hosting me here. About our WhatsApp line a little bit short, we are providing young South Africans with reliable information on a variety of health and wellness topics. And that goes from mental health, relationships, sexual health, career advice, even at times. And basically to encourage healthy and good lifestyle choices, to give support and to connect them to services where possible, and basically to empower young people to make informed choices and stay healthy. So as much as, you know, those workshops are always like sort of an outline of the ideal situation, I think at Keredi we were anything but that. Because we started, and a week before our launch, I made a phone call to Turn and said, oh my goodness, I need to launch a WhatsApp line in a week. So there was not that much planning and go-to-market strategy, and there was more like we need to just get things up and running. It was during COVID time and when the vaccinations were introduced, and we sort of got the brief of more young people in South Africa need to get vaccinated. So we initially launched our line as a competition by the name of Keredi to Flex, where young people could flex their skills in any way and motivate other young people to get vaccinations. We luckily had a nice budget for it, managed to give away lots of prizes for it. And then we soon realized we need to share information about COVID-19, about the vaccines, and also allow young people to engage with other young people. And our other young people were young healthcare providers. So what we offered at our line that at the time was quite unique was that young people could ask young doctors, we work with doctors under 35, any questions about their health. Now, very soon after that, the National Department of Health decided to blast our number in an SMS without telling us first. So that was a bit of a shocker. But I think almost overnight, that's how we got our first 30,000 users or so, and which was a great start. But obviously, that's not very targeted. It went to the whole of South Africa, and it messed with that strategy of ours a bit. So once the whole COVID-19 thing was over, we more and more started getting questions about other topics. And we were privileged to launch mobile clinics in South Africa, which was a pilot project to basically, at the moment, the mobile clinics are mostly handed over to the government to show this is how you can offer healthcare to young people. So we ran 46 mobile clinics in 4 provinces. And that's obviously where the WhatsApp number also came very handy. And at the moment, we have a service with 105,000 WhatsApp users, and it's basically growing every day. Our current WhatsApp service still offers information and tips, but there's obviously, because the mobile clinics, most of them unfortunately have closed. It's really the digital engagement that all of a sudden plays a much bigger role, as it always did. Our WhatsApp service in the beginning, like I said, it was complete bot, and then very soon people started communicating with doctors. That became very expensive. And from there, we now have 4 nurses that are manning our WhatsApp line. And as part of our scaling at the beginning of this month or mid last month, we added an AI component as well into the WhatsApp line. So we sort of have a triage where some of the questions are being answered by the bot or by the AI, and some of them have been moved to to a human and to speak to a nurse. And this is how we can also see now that the nurses are being freed up a bit. So now we have the space as well to grow again. The doctors are still there, and they are still assisting us with answering some of the questions. As you can see, our branding is very bright and loud, and we soon luckily got rid of stock photography and started doing photo shoots with our ambassadors, with our actual doctors that we use all over on our WhatsApp servers. You can move to the next slide. And then it brings me to our co-market strategy. Of course, what really worked and what was also mentioned earlier for us is the face-to-face engagement. As much as it didn't grow our WhatsApp line in bulk, those are the people that are staying, that are coming back, that are really 100% interested in the line. So our doctors do school talks, wellness days at TVET colleges, universities, at community events. And we have a little sort of, I always call it a doctor in your pocket, a little business card that we hand out at our mobile clinics. And that often people are also given personally. So they consulted at the mobile clinics and then get a card to say, if you have any further questions, you can contact our WhatsApp line anytime. And sometimes people do that 6 months later, but they keep the card with them and they know how to find it back. I often even get messages on the WhatsApp line from parents who are saying, hey, I found this card in my daughter's school bag. Can you explain a bit more? And it sometimes even goes into the conversation about how can I give my child sexual health education. So it's quite interesting. We've been doing a lot of media. Obviously, the national media, I always feel we more speak to parents than to actual teenagers. But we do a lot of community radio as well. We have a number of nurses working for us and mobilizers, communicators, and they all know how to conduct radio interviews. And they all know from day one, when you work for Keredi, you know the WhatsApp line. And I think it goes everywhere. There is not a piece of communication that you can catch from us where the WhatsApp line is not there. So it has become a really important asset for us. And the WhatsApp, I know Teun calls them reminders, but for us, it's more alerts, obviously. They also work really well. We do them bi-weekly. And people really seem to enjoy them, and a large number of the engagement comes from people responding to the alerts. So when the alert might be about how to quit smoking, I'm just saying something now, then you can go straight through to that menu. You can ask a healthcare provider, and we see a lot of engagement from that. I really like the checklist. I think we all like to check boxes. So Teun, thanks for that. I really would encourage you all to kind of use that. And I think, you know, what I've learned a lot is that what works for someone might not work for someone else. And but it's always good because we look at Christina's presentation and we might say to ourselves, oh, but that comes from a very commercial sort of background. But from my experience, I do think that as I also work a lot in the creative industries and the arts, and we suffer from that same complex. Sometimes we do need to look at ourselves as, of course, the measurements might be different and the communications might be different, but we need to approach our communications more as commercial products. And I think that's what Keredi has done really well in terms of health communication. It's different. We use a lot of slang in our communication. We use a lot of color. It's bright, it's fun. It's really for young people. But there is no magic key to this, and there's no one solution. And every product, I think, is different. So figure out what works for you. And I wish everyone good luck on that journey. And these are our contact details. So if you want to check out the line, feel free. And that is also my email address, the info at, I get it. So if you have any questions, then feel free to shoot me a message.
Thank you so much, Marjolein, for sharing your experience. I think you hit the nail on the head, in terms of just being able to experiment and learn from other industries as well, and pulling that into the work that you do. Business cards, amazing idea. And I think you've also shared how important it is to leverage that multi-channel approach and going to where users are to drum up that awareness, the power of face-to-face engagement. Thank you for being here today to share your experiences and Chiarity's approach. And I think what also stands out for me, just from hearing both you, Marjolein and Abdulhamid, is the power of creating a community and how that can really add value to the work that you do and building your audience on WhatsApp. So thank you. We've now reached the Q&A portion of the session. I see we've also run out of time. I just want to give everyone a moment to add any questions that you might have in the chat. We might be able to answer a few in 5 minutes. If not, we will also be engaging with everyone after the session as well to share the go-to-market and growth kit, as I've mentioned. But are there any questions that you have for our guest speakers? Or for myself? Or the Turn team?
Well, I have a question. You don't mind?
Yes, sure. Sorry, I'm not sure who's speaking at the moment.
It's a Germán from Hip Camps.
Yes, please, go ahead.
It's very, very quick. I don't know if it's a question, maybe it's just trying to gather an insight, but it's I've seen that all the solutions mention the relevance of having this in-person, personalized, no? Which is the part that is not as scalable as the WhatsApp service. How do you, maybe for anyone who has insights on or an answer, how do you find this balance within the synchronic or asynchronic approach in order to maintain these personalizations, but also doesn't act as a barrier to scale? How do you learn about this, and how do you combine these in a way that keeps you still able to scale, but also adds this ingredient of personalization?
Thank you. I think that's a great question. Abdulhamid, Marjolein, is there any insights that you can share around how do you tread that fine balance between scaling and in-person?
So in our case, the actual service is fully automated, meaning we don't, like, all of the personalization is actually AI personalizing. So we've made that decision to make sure that the actual service delivery is, like, there's no human involved in that. And any human personalization happens kind of like at the partnership level, or like we will create content for a particular curriculum or a particular country, but then all of the thousands of users are getting the exact same experience. So yeah, just wanted to clarify, like, when we say personalized, that doesn't always mean like necessarily that a human is involved. So there's no human interaction on our chatbot. It's completely kind of algorithmic and kind of automated.
If I may add to that, I do think, like, we're in the business of messaging at scale. And I think the golden North Star is to make every single experience as personal as possible, because that defines the quality of the interaction. So I really heard also in the story of Marjolein about, like, how if a conversation starts because there was a human interaction, like face to face, and then it continues on WhatsApp, of course, that's the most powerful start of conversation. Like nothing beats that. But like with that said, when you are messaging at scale through a partner like Turn, like I do think it's very important how to make every conversation as personal as possible. And as Abdul Hamid said, I think AI provides like an excellent way to make it feel more personal, but also being really thoughtful instead of like blasting to a message to your whole user base, being very thoughtful, like what kind of segmentation in your user base can you make? You know, is it like interest based? Is it geographical? You know, you don't want to send a message in the middle of the night when people are sleeping. You want to like do it in active hours. So, you know, what kind of segmentation can you apply to make it as personal, relevant, and useful to your customer?
I think also from my side, you know, you should ask me again in a year, because we're now starting to explore sort of the existence of our WhatsApp line without that whole element on the ground. But how I'm catching it now is also all our sort of alumni doctors, as we call them, are becoming our ambassadors. So we make sure that even in the digital world, we still have that human element. And that's a choice, of course, that's a brand choice. But I personally prefer when people are sort of sharing their deepest health concerns with you, that they really know that there's a human on the other side, even if it's only in marketing. So I would prefer using a picture of an actual doctor and maybe getting a doctor influencer to assist with it, as opposed to an illustration. Even though there's not that personal physical contact, but you can also choose to make your marketing language in that way. For a maths line, you could use real maths teachers to be on the artworks and to promote the line. So I think you can still make it personal without being out there physically.
I really like what you said about, you know, the AI combined with a human, like an actual human. And as you said, like, let's see in a year from now, I personally, this is my very personal opinion, really believe that with this AI transformation that we're seeing right now, as human beings, we're trying to keep up. And like, we're in this phase right now where we're parallel pathing human beings with AI. But I think that shift to like AI as it gets better as well, like will shift quite quickly. So maybe we should do a check-in in a year from now to see where things are.
It's interesting because in our line, people get asked, right? They ask their question and then the AI answers it. And then the person is asked, do you still want to connect with a human? And I've now learned that about 50% still says yes, even though the human comes in and gives the exact same answer.
Yeah.
And it says something about the trust that people have in, no, I still need a human to confirm this. And it would be indeed interesting to see if that changes.
If they maybe offer like doing that for 3 to 5 or 3 to 10 times, they're like, oh, I'm just going to get the same thing. So next time I'm going to skip that. Like we're just training ourselves as well, right? But very, very interesting.
Absolutely.
I also see a question that's come in from Mariana on how the guest speakers address security issues on health topics if they use AI, and whether they developed all the content to train the model. I don't know if that's something that you can speak to.
Yes, I can. Yes, most of the content the AI takes from our content, although we find it sometimes obviously difficult to limit it. But I think, you know, we've got, because we have humans, it's a huge privilege for us. So we can say to an AI, well, maybe only deal with questions about these particular topics and everything else gets moved to a human healthcare worker. And I think I still do it because it also makes me anxious. But the first 3 weeks or so, I've checked everything that got answered by the AI. So that I also constantly almost was there, and the nurses were there to say, oh, actually, 30 minutes ago, this was said, but we just want to add this or that. And we haven't, so far, we haven't really experienced any great blunders or fails in the system. So it is going quite well. And I think, about 50% of our questions still get moved to a human, even maybe sometimes a bit more, But when it sounds complex, when people, there's certain instructions we gave when it sounds complex, when people show multiple symptoms, when people really get pushed to speak to a nurse directly.
What I'd also add to that is, and again, this is covered in the go-to-market and growth toolkit that we'll share after this call, is in your AI assistant in the Turn product, you'd be able to include the content that you'd like the assistant to draw from in answering and responding to user questions. So there is a way to contextualize where the answers are coming from based on the information from your organization and related to your organization. So that's all detailed in the go-to-market and growth toolkit. We'll share more details there. Any other questions? I see, Andile, you've posed a question in the chat, which I'm actually typing in line too, but feel free, anybody else, to ask. I think we'll probably leave this as the last question for the session.
Hi, so this is sort of a follow-up to the question that I typed in the chat. We have a combination of both AI, but we also have a library of searchable content. How can we track the user engagement with our library of content that is available to see if people are interacting with it, or if we'd be better off without having that, but feeding all of that information into the AI chat bot itself, so that when people ask the questions related to the stuff that we have in our library, they get the response that comes directly from us and not just generated by AI.
Where do you have the regular content hosted?
So it's on the Turn platform. It's under the different journeys. We've got a menu. For context, we are a line. The project is called Fathers Matter, and we seek to speak directly with men and give them tips, tools, and information about how they can be more present and active in their lives of their children. And so around that, we've segmented it according to the age groups. And we've got content for each of the age groups, but we also have content that speaks directly to being a father and the like. And so we're trying to figure out if people are interacting with that content that we have available for them in our menu, or are they just going straight to ask the AI a question around fathering. So we're trying to see if our efforts at creating more content that sits within different journeys there is actually working and people are engaging with it. How would we measure and track the engagement with our content that sits within different journeys on Turn?
I think it's a great question. The one way to look at it is to look at your read receipts and your read statistics on WhatsApp. The other way to do it is also to look at creating trackable links to your content if it's externalized, so that you can track how users are linking out to or connecting with your content. But it's a question that I also would like to take back to our product team to see if there are any other insights that we can surface from a Turn product perspective that might also help you gauge the effectiveness of your AI tool in your service versus the content that you're actually creating, and whether or not you can tailor your content more specifically based on those insights. So we'll take that back to our product team, Andile. But in the meantime, it also in the go-to-market and growth toolkit, we've got a link there around insights and the insights that will be available to you that might be beneficial from a content perspective.
Great. Many thanks.
Sorry, Marilyn.
I think, no, there are ways to do it, Andile. So if you get stuck, you can always shoot me a message. But I think also in my experience, our users are about 50-50, and every person is different. And that doesn't always, that's often a personality, you know, it's not always dependent on the target market. One person wants to rather just ask a question and picks up a phone to a help desk, and another one rather browses a website and looks for the answer to the question in the frequent asked questions. And some people read our menu as a magazine rather, and some people just know straight, no, let me ask a healthcare provider and get my answer. So in my experience, it's really valuable, and I don't want to give you double work, but to keep and static content pieces that people just can browse through, and then as well as that option of asking the AI. Also, it's cheaper, because if you let people talk with an AI from the moment they get into their chat, obviously there's a lot of messages going up and down. So it also can get quite an expensive exercise.
Thanks, Marlene. I will definitely take you up on that offer to reach out and just have a chat.
Amazing. I'm really excited that also connections are being made within this community. And again, I think it might be very useful to continue the conversation in some forum in this type of engagement as well. What I would like to say is just thank you to everyone. I think that really will close the session off now. Thank you to the guest speakers for sharing their insights, but also thank you to the audience for you and also for staying on. Clearly, this is very useful information to help us understand how we can improve our services and improve our impact. And from us here at Turn, we really appreciate your continued partnership. We love working with you, and we're just excited to support you on your journey towards scaled impact. Oh, I think someone's on. Oh yeah, thanks, Andile. Thank you everyone for being here today. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. I appreciate all of your questions. And if you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to myself or any one of the guest speakers, and we'll be in touch. Take care and chat soon.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.